Hello and welcome to this week's IG Live and giveaway. We usually do those separately, but this is a special IG Live interview, so we're doing them together. So hang out until the end and we will tell you how to enter this week's giveaway. We are having an interview with a wonderful author illustrator team. This is Rae Rose and illustrator Aly McKnight, and they're going to be talking about the brand new book, The Sacred Stone Camp. And we're going to be giving away a copy to one lucky winner. So hang out to the end. We'll tell you how to enter. You have until Thursday at midnight Eastern time to enter as usual. So you're not going to want to miss it. They're going to be talking about the book if you want to find out more about the story behind the story. As always, we bring these to you. This is at a special time. They were very gracious at rescheduling at my request. And so I'm really appreciative to them for that. That's why we're having this interview on Monday instead of Thursdays as usual. We'll be back on Thursday with our regularly scheduled IG Live, but I'm very excited they were able to accommodate because their book is really amazing and one you're going to want to share with your kids about standing up for what you believe in, and also a really important story to share with them about the protests that were held, and especially about a very special person, LaDonna Brave Bull Allard. Just want to make sure I got her name right. And so this is something really important to share with their children. I'm so happy that they have brought that to us. Hang on just a minute. I think I see one of our guests is on here if you want to send me a request to join. Or actually, we are going to be having... Hi, Violet. I just saw one of our future guests is on here. Nice to see you. If you're just joining, we are going to be doing a giveaway, so make sure you hang out till the end and we will tell you how to enter. Hello, good to see you again.
Hi again.
Hi. And hopefully we'll have Rae on here soon. Let me see, I don't see her yet, but maybe we can go ahead and start and you can introduce yourself and tell us what was your journey to becoming an illustrator. I know you also do fine art. By the way, if you haven't gone to see Aly's website, which we're going to link to her, Instagram, of course, which goes to the website. You really need to. I was looking at your artwork is really amazing. So were you an artist first and then an illustrator? Did it all kind of happen at the same time, or what was that like?
Well, first, banat, hello. I'm Aly McKnight. Nanat Nia Susoni Banit. I'm Shoshone Bannock from Fort Hall, Idaho. And I've been an artist my whole life. Illustrator, fairly new. I was actually in retail for a very, very long time. And then in 2020, my baby was turning a year old, and I was like, you know what, I really want to pursue my art dreams and see where I can go with that. And so I put in my 2 weeks, and I loved the company I was with because we worked with people from Guatemala and Ghana and all sorts of international countries, places, and people. And it was so great, but I knew I wanted to pursue art. And then COVID hit the week after I had left. And I thought, shoot, I just left my job of so long, so many years. What am I going to do? And then I got my first book offer that month. I think like that week. Wow. And I was like, no, like I told them like politely, like, I don't have any illustration like background. Like I've never even thought about illustrating children's books. And then they were so persistent and lovely. I'm so grateful for them. And hi Gabe. Sorry. I was just like, okay, like let's jump head in. And it was actually for The Gift of the Great Buffalo, this book. That was my first book offer. And it's just, I've never looked back since. Now I think I'm on my 6th children's book that I'm illustrating. We're just in the sketches. But yeah, I've always been an artist. Illustrator is newer.
But so was it hard to make the transition to doing children's books? Like, is your process really different for that?
I wouldn't say my process is different. I would say that I've had to do a lot more research with children's books. With every single author I've worked with, they've been such a blessing because they've all brought something different to the table. And I love that because they all have such common goals and values, but at the same time, they all have very different backgrounds. And so I'm gotten to understand and hear about their backgrounds and their histories and their cultures. And, you know, because I work with a lot of Native American female authors, but we're all different tribes. And
Right.
so learning about different tribes has been a beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, just I've had to learn a lot more, and it's been fun. It's been hard, but it's been fun.
Yeah, and so do you get to work, I guess you get to work pretty closely with the authors, or how much interaction do you have with the authors?
I think in the illustrative and author world, we try to stay a little bit separate, just to preserve everybody's like thoughts and creativity and integrity. Because the publishers don't want the authors overpowering illustrators. They're kind of our in between. So
Right.
there's a little bit of I guess a boundary between illustrators and authors, but I would say now, like I'm very close with a lot of the authors that I've worked with because now our books are out. And hi, Ray.
Hi, sorry.
That's all
Good.
Technical difficulties.
right. We're just glad you're here.
Thank you.
That's interesting. Well, we were just actually getting started with introductions. Aly was telling us about herself and kind of how she got into children's books. Maybe you could tell us about your background. I understand you're actually, most people know you more for your journalism. So how did you get started in that? And then what led you to children's books?
I actually got started about 10 years ago for a MMIW story through Last Real Indians. They asked for a indigenous woman that knew the traditional ways. And so walking between both worlds, I was able to navigate that and help the family tell their story and keep someone in jail who had harmed a family.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a long way from going to children's books.
Maybe Aly, you can tell us a little bit about what it was like to you when you got the manuscript to illustrate. And I know you had talked about the importance of research, and I'm sure it was probably an emotional book for you as well. How was that process like for creating this really gorgeous artwork for it?
Oh, you're so sweet. um, well, I think I just try to be as playful as I can be when sketching or working out how to show the story. Um, because that's my job here. Rae has written this really beautiful, emotional story, and so she's telling it. And my job is to figure out how do I show this story. And so my goal when approaching any artwork is to use textures and colors and layers of paint and graphite to create a range of moods and emotions. And I feel like the more color and layers that I add, the more clearly a story emerges from the picture I'm creating. So I'm always, you know, with my artwork, I try to really intentionally embrace the organic and sometimes unpredictable nature of life through graphite and watercolor. It's not always perfect. Like it's a process. Sometimes the paintings and sketches they aren't beautiful or good even, but that's okay because humans aren't meant to be perfect. Artwork isn't meant to be perfect. It's just meant to be. So I think it's always fun to just experiment and see what comes through.
And thanks for those that are coming back. And Ray, that was I'm not sure what happened at
Me
the
either.
video. All of a sudden, I just got a notice that the video ended, so it wasn't you. But thank you all for coming back with us. We were taught, as you mentioned, Ray, this isn't just history. I mean, this is also still the present because, as you mentioned, the fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline is still happening. What do you want young people to understand about the fight? If say maybe they weren't born or they were really young when it started, what do you want them to know about it?
You know, we're a continuation of each generation. um, we carry forward our ancestors, our children will carry us forward. This fight is never ending. Um, to protect the land, the waters, the people, the future for our grandchildren, our great grandchildren. That's a never ending battle to protect. And I just want to say, it sounds tiring and frustrating, but there's so much beauty in protecting the sacred, what's important.
Right.
I don't know if I'm answering this right.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's so beautiful. And I think one thing that you portrayed in the story that I think is really important for kids is that the girl, she's kind of nervous about it. And so it's like acknowledging kids how they might feel. Of course, we have these ideals, but they might be a little nervous. And so it kind of validates that. But she also gets strength from all the people who are joining in, whether family or community or maybe even strangers. What do you hope that kids kind of learn from that about the power of being in community together and joining together to stand up for what's right?
I think it's not just the kids. I want the adults to learn again too. um, you know, through our battles, we have actually closed down 4 of at least 7 major pipelines. Um, I want the kids to know that they can count on us, that there is community. Um, that when you my main message to kids, to adults, to everyone that I wanted to get out there is that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when you do it for the right reasons, for the right intentions. When you step out there with good intentions, everything you do becomes a prayer. And that's so important, that you try to do what's right, not just for you, not just for your gain, but for the future, for those who are too vulnerable or don't have a voice. And sorry, I cry so easy. but when you go forward, if you're walking with good intentions and you are doing things not because they're comfortable or will bring you personal gain, but because you want to help someone else, and everything you do becomes a prayer, and that prayer will inspire others to pick up the pieces. And that's what LaDonna did. Her whole life was a prayer.
And you've given such a beautiful tribute to her and to help kids understand that message. Aly, what was it like for you? I mean, I think you have so many beautiful illustrations that kind of reinforce this message about connection with community, connection with nature. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I just want to show, see if I can find it. Well, one, I think I already showed this before. I just love this image of them sitting together in the camp, but also you have a lot where you show the girls' connection and like this beautiful one of the stars. And often ones where I can't find it right now. I'll find it when you're talking about. There's one where her hair is water.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's just, or here about, again, this connection with the land and with community. So can you talk to us about it, that?
I just have to echo Rae's sentiments, because my goal with the illustrations for this story was to really emphasize those relationships within the community and the family. And with the family, that includes animal and nature relatives, like water and earth. And so the illustrations depict the strong bonds between family members, especially between, our elder and our elders and our grandchild here, and the sense of community action at camp. So we get to see a little bit of everyone's role in the making of this ongoing story, and see how important even the littlest hands, and see how they can make a difference. They can make an impact. And even though things are scary, we still have power. And I think there's, like you mentioned a few of the other spreads. There's a few spreads where I've illustrated the environmental impact. And I really wanted to show the environmental destruction, you know, the toxic waste caused by the black snakes. And I used lots of watercolor layers throughout the story to depict those real world issues. And I think with those watercolor layers, I really tried to use different techniques to sort of capture the depth of emotion. That's, yeah, so you can see there's lots of layers and colors. And so I'm trying to engage the reader in a very fluid way, a very organic way, and not be so scary, because I want them to, you know, base head on these kind of real world issues, but in a magical sort of way, I guess. And I think the colors I used and the illustrations, I hope they really captured those different emotions that a child or an adult can face, because things can be really beautiful and really scary at the same time. So hopefully those illustrations and those colors really kind of say those, you know, multi-layered stories even.
Yeah, I love it. You mentioned about trying to balance talking about real world issues, but in a way that's kind of appropriate for kids, not making it too scary for them, but also not trying to sugarcoat things. Maybe, Rae, do you want to talk about how you address that in your text? Was it hard to find that balance of how to tell the story?
I don't think so, because there's so much hope. You know, there's a lot of bad, yes, going on, especially today in the world, but there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of love. You know, there's us right here, you know. And I think that's so important to remember, and that's what offsets the fear, or gives people the courage to take the next step, is us and the world that keeps giving, even when it's being abused. There's so much that's around us that we should be grateful for too.
Right. Yeah, and I think this book really does so much to show that, like you said, it shows the real world issues, and yet there's a lot of joy in the book, which you wouldn't think of for a book that's about something so serious, but there is, like you said, a lot of love and a lot of joy and hope in it. And I want to be respectful of your time, so thank you both for being on here. But do you want to maybe give a shout out? Each of you, do you have future projects you'd like to mention since we're on here to this audience? Rae, maybe do you want to go first, or are you planning to do more children's books? Or
I am. I'm working on my second children's book. I'm trying to give life to the earth by speaking through a sacred site. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully it'll go well.
Oh, it will. It definitely will.
Thanks, Aly.
how about you, Aly? I think, did you mention you were working on another book right now? I can't remember.
Yeah, so I just wrapped up one other book. That one is titled The Fire in Your Belly. And that one's written by Rebecca LaFond. And that is being published by Chronicle Books. So I think that's slated for next year. So it'll come out next year sometime. I'm not sure when, but I'll post, keep everybody updated.
And we'll make sure, for both of you, we'll make sure to share it in our stories as well when they come out. And before I let you guys go, though, we are doing a giveaway. So if you are inspired by what you've heard, you could win your own copy of The Sacred Stone Camp with this wonderful story and beautiful illustrations. All you have to do, make sure you like this post, make sure you're following us and each of our guests here today, and that will be in the caption. You can go do that. And then let us know in the comments what causes inspired you when you were a kid. Of course, this is about a young girl who is standing up for what is right. So did you have a particular cause that was important to you when you were a kid? Sometimes it's nice to kind of reconnect to that. So let us know in the comments. You have until Thursday, midnight Eastern to enter, and then we'll announce the winner after that. Thank you both for being on here, especially with all of our technical problems. Thank you for hanging out with us and for being so gracious about doing it at this time. So I really appreciate both of you.
Oh,
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Yes, and thanks to all of you for watching. As always, this is going to be up on Instagram in a few minutes, and then we'll have it up on our YouTube channel later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.